Assalamu alaikum. Hello everybody, Mr. Gamal with you. Now with Black Beauty chapter 8. Chapter 8. Danger in the storm. Danger in the storm. معنى كده من خلال التايتل بتاعنا ان في danger يعني في accident حصل. Let's see. One autumn day, John hitched Black Beauty to a high-wheeled cart to drive to a certain town on business that was hours away. Then they reached the tall bridge. The river was high because of the rain. The toll keeper warned them, but they continued their way. When they reached the town, John took Black Beauty to a local stable, and the squire went to take off his business. Then they decided to go home. The wind was getting worse. Horses have spun around and ran away, so they decided to change their way. When they reached the tall bridge, Black Beauty noticed that something was wrong. Then the toll keeper told them that the bridge was broken, so they decided to change their way and thanked Black Beauty for saving their lives. Before watching, you should think of these words: hitch, hitch, cart, cart, bottle, bottle, crack, crack, limp. The questions: where did Squire want to go? Why was the river high? What did the toll keeper tell Squire and John? What blocking their way? Why did Black Beauty stop? What was wrong with the bridge? What was wrong with the bridge? Now, let's watch and listen.
Black Beauty, Chapter 8, Danger in the Storm. One late autumn day, John hitched me to the high-wheeled cart. Then he and the squire climbed in, and we drove out through the gate. The squire had to go to a certain town on business. The town was several hours away, but I didn't mind the work. The cart was light and easy to pull, and the weather was brisk and cool. It had rained a lot recently, so there were puddles everywhere. The wind blew fallen leaves across the road in colorful showers. Soon we reached the first toll bridge. The river was high because of all the rain. The flat wooden bridge was just a few inches above the water. The toll keeper stepped out of his hut.
"The river's still rising,"
he told the squire and John.
"I'm afraid it could be a bad night."
The squire looked out at the bridge.
"Your bridge has strong rails on both sides,"
he said.
"I doubt you'll have any trouble here, but we'll be careful."
We crossed the bridge and continued on our way. When we reached the town, John took me to a local stable to rest and eat while the squire went to take care of his business. By the time the squire reappeared, it was late afternoon. We started for home.
"The wind is getting worse,"
John said as we drove out of town.
"I don't think we've ever been out in such a terrible storm."
The road passed some fields and then entered a forest. The wind whipped the tree branches around overhead, making me a little nervous. The squire also sounded nervous as he spoke.
"I wish we were out of this forest,"
he said.
"Me too."
John agreed.
"I hope none of these branches fall on us."
Just as he spoke, there was a loud crack above us. A second later, a large limb crashed down onto the road ahead, blocking our way. The noise and surprise startled me terribly. I stopped short and trembled. Many horses would have spun around and run away, but I had learned not to do that, and so I stood as still as I could. John jumped out and hurried to my head.
"Good boy,"
he said.
"It's okay, there's nothing to fear. It missed us."
Yes, but barely.
the squire said.
And now we can't go on. What should we do?
They decided we would have to go back to the last crossroads and take a different way home. We did just that, but it took a long time. By the time we reached the toll bridge again, it was almost dark. We approached the bridge at a steady walk, but as soon as my feet touched the wooden boards, I stopped short. I could feel that there was something different about the bridge. Something was wrong.
Go on, Beauty.
Called the squire. He flicked the whip lightly to urge me forward. But the bridge felt so strange, I stayed where I was. The squire flicked the whip again. It stung me a little harder this time, making me jump in place. Still, I didn't dare take a step farther onto the bridge.
Wait, sir.
John said.
Maybe there's something wrong.
He jumped out of the cart and walked up to my head.
What's the matter, Beauty?
He asked in his soothing way.
Come on, let's go.
At that moment, the tollkeeper burst out of his hut on the far side of the river. He waved a light around over his head and let out a shout.
Stop! Stop!
He cried.
The bridge is broken in the middle. If you try to cross, you'll end up in the river.
Oh my!
The squire exclaimed.
What a close call.
Good boy.
John murmured to me. He took me by the bridle and gently turned me around. Then he climbed back into the cart, and we continued down the river to the next bridge. It was built much higher over the water, and we crossed safely. When we finally arrived home, it was well after dark. We found the mistress waiting up for us despite the late hour.
Are you safe?
She cried, hurrying out to greet us.
I was so worried.
Yes, my dear.
The squire said.
We are safe, but only thanks to our fine Black Beauty. If he hadn't been wiser than John and me, we all would have been swept into the river and drowned.
He went into the house, so I couldn't hear any more of what he said. But I was so tired after the long journey, I didn't mind. John took me to the stable and unhitched me. Then he gave me a warm mash with lots of extra carrots, along with extra pats and praise.